Alright, welcome back guys, this is Winter, and I have a little bit of a quick guide today about something people ask about a lot, and a lot of people don't actually know too much about, or the details, especially starting out gameplay settings. We're talking just gameplay settings, not graphics, not sensitivity or anything like that, just basic gameplay settings. So we're going to go over to the gameplay tab, and that's pretty much all we're going to be looking at for now. But here are my gameplay settings, guys. These are the ones I use as a Grandmasters Random player, and I have really, well, obviously, after so many games, they're pretty well refined, but just going over each one, I'm just going to explain what each one does. Show alerts. Alerts in game are the things that come up on the left hand side here. Let's go back in game. But when larva pops or an upgrade finishes, not only will you get the notification, but it will show the alert in game. So as soon as the Zerglings come out, we should see something on the left hand side, which some people don't like this. A lot of higher level players actually have this disabled. But it can be useful for several reasons. I find it a little bit useful. I notice like additional larva birth or something, and I can go back to inject, or a creep tumor finishes, and I go back to do that. You can actually select from this as well. You can select, if you click on the button, it will select, or control click when some Zerglings come out, you'll be able to select them, put in your control group. That's what alerts do. I like them. It's kind of a stylistic choice, but I really like it. Game timer, pretty self-explanatory. You should have that. It's very helpful and very useful, especially if you're trying to learn or figure out timings and stuff like that. Build grid is just showing how much space around something. I'll show you real quick. But there you see the grid right there and how much space it'll have around it. Pretty helpful for making walls and stuff like that. Not that I'm an expert on that, but having it on, just a little bit of extra information. This, I have it on just why not. World objects like rocks and stuff like that. Not too big a deal. Game tooltips, you don't really need those, but they're usually helpful for newer players. I just like having more information. Hotkeys on command card, there's no reason not to have that, to be honest. You can look super pro without hotkeys, but I would recommend always having that, because you should be able to hit a hotkey for everything. You should never be right-clicking. Never be clicking on that bottom right-hand corner. Starting worker rally, obviously helpful. Especially for those who might not be able to load in instantly to the game, have a little bit of lag early on, if you don't have as high-end a computer or internet. Always show worker status, pretty important. Seeing that you have the correct amount of workers on gas or on minerals. I talk about the correct amount in other videos, but it's always useful to have that information. Enable simple command card. I believe this is enabled by default. A lot of these are enabled by default, or disabled by default, which I really disagree with the gameplay settings Blizzard has, but we're just not going to, the default ones, I'm just trying to help you guys out, getting the ones that you want to have the, best functionality. You do not want a simple command card. That will remove, if you enable the simple command card, let's just watch what happens. Now you don't have hold position, you don't have stop position, all the other commands there that you could be using that you might not even know about if you have that disabled. Sure, you're not always using them, but if you don't know they exist, it's not very helpful. Show current order indicator. This I find useful for, especially for something like overlords. You see, you right click here, you're like, oh, my overlord's going over here. Sometimes you don't know exactly where it's going. Adds a little bit more, but you get that little bit of extra information. I'm always looking for more information. If you want it a little bit cleaner, you can take that off, but I recommend having it. Alright, select all larva. If you click a larva on a hatchery, you'll select all of it. It's a little bit simpler. Instead of selecting an individual one, you only have to make one of it. It's not a big deal. That's a stylistic choice as well. Here's a big one that's disabled by default. Enable enemy unit selection. It seems simple, right? But it's actually disabled by default. And a lot of players, I find, starting out, they don't know, like, how do you click on their buildings? How do you know what building's building? Like, how do you know their upgrades? Well, if you can't click on your enemy units, then it's obviously very difficult to know these things. But enable that right now if you don't have it. Enable colorblind mode if you're colorblind. Well, there you go. Team color life bars. I don't really like it. That's more of a stylistic choice. It makes, based on your health, you see here, it's still going to be green no matter what. Some people actually like that. I'm not a big fan. I actually have additional team color textures. A lot of people are like, why is it so green? Why is it popping up? This is not enabled by default. But if you take this off, I don't know if this requires a game restart. But you take the team colors all the way down. Yeah, you can already see the textures are off a little bit, but it does require a game restart, but this is what gives the units there more, I guess, bright and vibrant looking type of, I just used the word vibrant out loud, okay. But yeah, that's what makes your units kind of pop out, and their units pop out a little bit more. I like it. It's more of a stylistic choice once again, but anything that can make things more obvious to you in a split second is really important. Now, just on the other things here, we have the menu screen background. Of course, we're going for Kerrigan for 2 very important reasons. Unit life bars, I have them on always. Some players, especially Korean players, have them on damaged or just selected, but like I said, I always like to have the information. If you don't have it on always, if you don't have an opinion or you don't know what you like, I would recommend putting it on always. Flyer helper is just a little bit extra if you're just starting out. I have it because I have all the information. I get whatever information I can get. Control groups, unclickable. I like this because obviously not clicking the control groups. You can still see them. Now, I found I don't actually look at them very often. Like, I'm not looking like which one's my Viper control group or my Zergling one. But I guess it's somewhat for streaming, but having this can be a little bit helpful. Just get an idea of what you're doing. Control group wise here. And not being able to click them means you won't accidentally click something you don't mean to if you're clicking down here or something like that. So, because you shouldn't be using clicks for control groups. That kind of defeats the purpose a little bit there. Make sure you're using those hotkeys. Observer interface, default. The default, if you don't know what this means, try to put it to default. That's for replays. Save all replays. Why not? I recommend SDE Lite, which I might go over in another video. And display replay time information. There you go. This is for casters to disable. But, oh yeah, experience points. I didn't talk about experience points. The reason I have experience points on, even though it seems like a lot of clutter on the screen, especially in a matchup like ZVZ, the experience points, one, they will show for a while after the death animation, especially if you're on lower graphics settings. The death animation of some units will be very quick, and sometimes you'll miss it. Like, I'll jump back, I'll be looking, I'll be like, oh, what's happened? Oh, I'll see that extra Zerglings died there, and you can kind of tell because those experience points stay around a little bit longer. Not only that, but you can see it through Fog of War. Say there's an Overlord like barely out of vision range, and you're not going to be able to see it anymore, and well, it goes out of vision range through that last Queen Shot Connect or something like that. You see the experience points pop up, it's gone. But I use this a lot in ZVZ for Ling Baneling battles. You can get a really good idea very quickly on how many drones, how many Lings you killed. And once again, this is a stylistic choice. I can understand a lot of people not liking having all that on the screen, but I personally like having it. So, all right, that kind of wraps up the gameplay settings here. I'm going to go, well, I go over hotkeys in other videos. We can go over graphics and sensitivity settings and stuff like that if enough people are interested. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave in the comments more ideas for videos. Have any questions, of course you can do it there, or check me out on stream, which you probably already know where that is. But thank you guys for watching. Good luck, have fun, have an amazing day.